I've seen a dragon eating a tree, an ape that tore away the head of a monster's cat, and a wolf without fur that was as quick as lightning. Now leave me alone, evil spirit. Let my shame rest. He's shaking. Let him be, eh? Tizzy grunts at you. Nothing wrong about a man trying to forget. No, there isn't. He rubs his chin. For his wolf friend. I've heard about one. Our tribe's facade in the heart of the woods. Nasty beast, let's hope it won't find a mate for breeding. It charges you like a runner and jumps right at your throat. He touches his neck, so even the hunters stay away from it. Too bad we've no crossbows. He raises his wooden club. Hey, better to avoid the deep woods than without one. Kai seems to be too on edge to speak anymore. He won't tell me about his visions. I have nothing more to say. Alright, well, it was nice knowing you guys. I might be back later. We have 6 hours. Let's see what else we can get done today. On these muddy roads. Squeezed between the hills and the forests. The only larger beast you spot is a single saurian basking on the boulder, lazily observing you from a safe distance. Your ears catch the howls coming from the north, long and loud, while you look at the lake, hoping there's no threat hiding below the water's surface. The few plants growing next to the road mostly bear fruit. The road is not as reliable here as it is on the eastern bank. Parts of it are a bit muddy, and the puddles disturb your ride. Maybe the locals will maintain it before it gets swallowed by the lake. The deep, loud yells of howlers are piercing your ears, concealing any other sound in the area. You're sitting on branches and in tall grass, not really trying to hide. Their thick, black and gold furs cover their entire shells, aside from the charcoal, black faces with roundish, flat noses and wide nostrils. The younger members of the pack are about the size of your mount's head, but the larger ones would be chest high if it wasn't for the fact that they walk on all fours. Their long tails are like an additional arm, helping them climb, hang from branches, or hold food while they eat. They aren't particularly muscular, but when they form their pink lips into the shape of a cup to release their howls, their mouths are so wide they could fit your entire arm inside. As you listen to the shouts, you reach for your head, feel a weird itch, but somehow you can't scratch it. Keeping my distance, take a look at the hide behind the boulder. The whitish rawhide covers the grass like a blanket, surrounded by paw prints. The howlers don't wait for you to approach it. One of the larger ones jumps on the ground, bleeding on its hands, and challenges you with its gaze. It has rather blunt teeth. I have nothing to plug my ears with. Would be a decent spot for a fish trap if I had one. Now's not the time to think about fishing. I try to scare the howlers away. The monkeys may try to attack me, so I'll grab the rawhide quickly and flee. Will I be able to reach it in time? I'll go for the hide. Stretch out your legs and dash ahead. At first, the monkeys move away with a few unconvinced yells, but then those from above start to howl even deeper than before. You feel as if your guts are starting to move, hitting against each other. You get dizzy, and soon the pain enters your skull, as if you're getting hit by a smith's hammer time and time again, yet you manage to stay calm, focused on your goal. The larger creatures try to cut your path, but being on the ground, they can't keep up with your legs. Without stopping, you grab the rawhide, then carry on, waiting for a few heartbeats before you change direction rapidly. Now getting closer to Magenta, by the time you reach the saddle, the beasts have already abandoned their pursuit. You take a few deep breaths, then inspect the rawhide. The wet, torn blanket is now worth as much as a bread crust. Still, it's not rotten. If the owner's around, they may recognize it. And hopefully pay for it too. Try to scare the howlers away now. I need something to plug my ears with. Sucks, you would think I'd be close to peat fields. Can't seem to get there, though. Well, I still have time, so maybe I'll explore other avenues. Road east is beaten and clean, with enough space to fit 2 wagons side by side. Pass by a few plum trees, apple trees, and cherry trees, but many more stumps, like belonging to what has been turned into Foggy Lake. The life in the plains is busy and loud, but so far you don't see any lurking beasts, judging by the many trampled parts of the meadows and the fresh food trails the foragings search this corner of the peninsula quite often. They didn't leave much behind. You reach a shining pond at the edge of the forest, right beneath 2 trimmed trees growing on opposite sides of the path, like columns leading to Wright's temple. Shouts and heavy steps prepare you for trouble ahead. 2 shells are circling around each other. One of them is a 4-legged saurian with gray skin, as long as your pelfrey, but only knee-high. It's wandering left and right along the bank, hissing, repeatedly sticking its tongue out and then retracting it. The stout monster doesn't look like a born hunter of humans, but its long tail is swinging like a whip, for now only threateningly so, but you don't doubt that getting hit by it would likely break your bones. The second one belongs to a brown-skinned man wearing leather pants, a long, brown woolen cloak, and a matching pelt of a wolf on his head and shoulders, like a haunting hood. His voice is both gentle and scared, and he's stretching his hands in front of him, trying to make the beast stay away as if it's a mufflin. The third shell is right in the middle between the two, a creature you don't recognize from a distance, but is in a puddle of its own blood and isn't moving. Maybe the guy's mount. Axe in hand, I jump on the ground and rush to help. I ride slowly, taking a closer look at the situation. If it doesn't see me coming, it's better I be cautious. You stand up in the saddle to have a better view and realize that the corpse on the ground is but that of a white ibex. The man who acknowledges your presence with a nod speaks with a hint of playfulness in his voice, asking the saurian to be so nice as to stay away. He then turns toward you and points at the prey. "Friend, lend me a hand, will you? I'm trying to seize it." As you dismount, the saurian takes a step closer to the pond. To seize the mount? To seize a saurian? How can I help? I don't think your ibex can be helped, kind stranger. I frown as my eyebrow. Why? It'd be easier to catch something by yourself. Just step away. I'm not going to help you die for a scrap of meat. Breathe out a relief. I thought the beast killed someone. How can I help? Yeah. Why would you want to? Yeah, why? It'd be easier to catch something by yourself. There's just a way I could say this without being intimidating. But it is kind of foolish. Well, thanks a lot for that. He takes a deep breath and looks at you, as if preparing for a harsh riposte, but then shrugs and steps away from the corpse. The constantly jumping hat of his, with the loose jaw and dead eyes, makes it difficult to focus on his face. My home is this way, in Creeks. Are you coming? Before you answer, he turns around and heads uphill. Saurian observes him for a bit, but you can't read anything in its eyes. Once you grab the reins and lead your mount forward, the beast doesn't waste any time. It puts the ibex's head into its mouth, as if it's trying to swallow the entire creature at once. That was a smart move to make. Catch up with the man. Leave the pond behind and approach the woods. Even from a distance, you can see a distinct trail leading between the trees. It's not a forest garden, but it's not bad. With every word, the man's voice gets more cheerful. It's not that gloomy, and I haven't seen a cat there in a year. But with no cats, there are boars there now, and there are boars, and there are also more gargoyles. He sighs. His steps get lighter, and so he leaps forward and bows to you, showing you the tip of his furry hood. Better not go too deep, kind traveler. There are no roads here. I wouldn't call myself a kind traveler after that. His voice is not much older than 20, shaved with great care, cleaner even among the city folk. While his hood and heavy cloak mask his figure, he seems well fed and healthy. Not a pathfinder, the wilderness isn't for me. Well, one can never know where their path will lead them. Especially when you're a Roadwarden. The spirits can be nastier than a sack of ape shit. But from all the places, I'd be glad to be led to creeks. We don't starve, the work is hard, but there are no merchants above us, and it's a gorgeous place, you know. You'll love it. We'll see. Don't ruin the surprise. No, I'm sure I will. The road is gentle, but the man is incapable of being silent. Every unusual tree seems to be tied to a story from his life, and he makes sure that you notice the first stream you cross on a new solid bridge. One of many creeks, you see, he says with untamed amusement. Oh, this is gonna be a long travel. A long trip. A thin gorge leads you between the mountains. This place is quite susceptible to bandits. Yeah. A lot of good areas. A lot of high ground. You can follow the trails of shouts and laughter. 7 people, about 20 years old each, are gathered at the wooden bridge, leaning against a railing, bathing the sun in the stream. Lying on the grass, pieces of clothing made of fur and leather are spread around, next to cudgels and throwing clubs. Once the sound of hooves manages to break through the chattering, the curious young eyes, untouched by wartime, turn toward you, and an excited whisper spreads. The shells are proudly displayed, and the confident smiles are both inviting and challenging. How's water? The hunter greets his tribesfolk while stepping on the logs. Gentle and warm, says the man resting on his friend's shoulder. Caught any squirrels? There are paths leading in many directions, but the main road will take you uphill. Awkward. As I walk past the naked people, I look at the watchtower. Yeah. These guys might be a little too cheerful. I'd rather not look at naked people. The hills around you form a valley, but likely spread from here to the very coast. The main spring supplying the creek is cutting through the walls high above you. The bridge is young and robust, enduring the weight of the wanderers silently, as well as your mount and belongings. A single person is waving to you from the tower, but the roof makes it difficult for you to see what they look like. Your guide speaks with enthusiasm. We keep a soul there at all times, friend. Unless the night's so dark, one can't even see the gate. It's not hard work, but it's boring, he says in a sing-song voice. Okay, I follow the twisting path. This is going to be a long path. The palisade is as tall as trees, but being placed on top of the crags makes it look impassable. What? Why is the gate closed? Oh, it's the same hunter. What? Why is the gate closed? Hunter turns to the watchtower and repeats his question, only louder. Maybe called Ella? Too blind to see we have a guest, eh? A hardly visible guard with a female voice leans from the tower. He's coming, Howler, relax. Her shouts hint of no patience toward them. The youth died in the woods after the bath. Why wouldn't we close? The man glanced at you. What do you want me to do? They argue for a good minute, and you realize it's just friendly banter. You don't recognize some of their jokes, referencing events and people you've never met. Her accent resembles Foggy's, but is thicker, and you'll have to get used to it. Don't let Ephraim take you to death, friend. The soul from the tower shouts to you as the gate opens. The sparse clumps of grass survive only on the edge of this spacious yard. The few onlookers wear working clothes, suitable for their hard labor. They're carrying tools, planks, and logs. You're next to a large building of unusual shape, either a temple or a house of gathering. It makes you think of a cabin that's been getting larger over the course of the years, with the section in the middle being darker and more crude than the other ones. A slightly overweight man is standing in front of the building with open arms. Welcome to Creeks, friend! His voice and eyes are gentle, but there's vigor in his stance and gestures. Ephraim was meant to hunt, but I see he brought a very unusual creature. Hunter rolls his eyes. Don't embarrass us with your prattle. He then raises his voice. I almost brought us an ibex, but this traveler was no help. Long story, at least I tried. Well, a smile gets replaced by a raising eyebrow. I trust you made the right decision, friend. Trust me? It was. I'll introduce myself. I observe him more closely. Been close to 30 years old, he's one of the older souls around. Just like the other villages, he has clothes made of animals, not plants. The leather pants and jacket are humble, but the shoulder cape, reaching from his neck to his elbows, used to belong to a yellow elk. His brown skin is darker than that of a farmer, and as you look out the outreached hands, they carry the marks of being cut by tools. And I'm Isla, the carpenter. He takes a step forward and toward the fruit tree and invites you to move forward. Like most men in the village, he's cleanly shaven. How about I show you the rest of the village? It may be humble, but it's beautiful as a blue starling. Thanks, Isla. That sounds lovely. I already have plenty of opportunities to see some of your beauties. Oh no. Sure. We talk about the peninsula instead? Yeah, that's really what I'm here for. Efren frowns. Of course! I didn't realize you're busy! He glances at the other man. My brother and I will help to the best of our ability. Efren scoffs. Don't involve me in this. I need to wash off the sweat, you know? From risking my life in the wilderness. He waves at you. See you later, friend. The carpenter rubs his hands. Well, there's work to be done. A new chair awaits me. He leads you to a humble working station placed at the edge of the square. The tools you notice are very simple, if not primitive. So what is it that you look for in our home? There are no more roads beyond our palisades. Pagos is suffering from a plague. The village is isolating itself from outsiders. Oh, well, I am looking for supplies. Supplies would be nice. At first, he offers you a fine barrel or a stool, but after you explain you prefer something useful for a traveler, he returns to his work. Then you should speak with Foggy at a tavern. You rode past it before we got here, eh? Maybe old Hava has some food to spare, but I doubt it. Old Hava. Well, I'll see. Ah, I should probably tell you, old Pagos is suffering from a plague. The village is isolating itself from outsiders. He freezes, puts away his tools, and looks for you with wide eyes. Wait for a bit, will you? Without waiting for your response, he springs up and knocks down a few planks as he lurches away, asking his neighbors to call the entire tribe. People surround you, asking what's going on, and once the news spreads, you answer dozens of questions, though most of what you have to say could be summed up with, I'm not sure. Aside from the worried faces, there are also more pragmatic ones. Hunters mention that they won't be able to deliver their autumn pelts, while one of the farmers wonders about her cousin. She was always so pious, she says with an accent you remember from old Pagos. May the right reward her prayers or else. After some time, the crowd pays you little attention, and Ayla leads you back to his workshop. They and I will discuss this later, he says with an absent voice, then sits down and glances at his neighbors. Right. I didn't think that was going to happen. I have other questions. I've heard about the bandits. Have they caused you any trouble? He makes an awkward cut with his chisel and lets out a quiet shit, then starts to rub the plank with his thumb. Bandits, you say? Soldiers from the city have already taken care of them. No, they haven't. I know I just got here, but no, they haven't. I probably need to gain his trust. Like to place this rod somewhere high belongs to Odysseus and Sanctress. I'm probably not going to say that. He doesn't trust me enough to even talk about the bandits. I made that mistake with, crap, I forgot her name. But, you know, the mayor of Howler's Dell. Asked too soon. Should have waited on that. There's a staring. Oh, I maybe should have harnessed the Druids instead. They like me better. Ah, right. Any chance Asterion is around? He halts his work and looks at you with an exaggerated frown. That's a weird question. You're the first Roadwarden I've seen in, well, this season, I think. Did you check in the western villages? You'll get to Howler's Dells, he'll be staying on the road. His right hand, still holding a tool, is now squeezing his stomach gently. People said Asterion has spent a long time in your village. You're hiding something. I will hold off on that. Maybe I'll try in the western villages, like you said. There are ones I have not visited yet. This village is much older than you are. What's its story? He proudly raises a carving knife and gestures for you to look around. It may be a young village, but there's a lot to say. while his story is bloated with names, relationships, a step-by-step description of the growth of the settlement, and bothersome creatures, you get the gist of it. The settlers arrived here 25 years ago, soon after one of the 10 cities had fallen to the sudden invasion. Most of them came from the capital, while some joined them along the way. They soon came to realize that none of the villages had enough space or the will to host a few dozen refugees. The folks of Gale Rocks used to have a much kinder attitude towards strangers than they do now, and they offered the newcomers to stay at the beach behind their village. If there was nothing for them to eat other than what they caught in the salt waters, they soon started their search for a land remote enough to not compete with the locals, and with the help of kind folks from Gale Rocks, White Marshes, Old Pagos, and others, as Ayla vaguely states, they received enough wood and tools to turn a scrap of this plateau into a clearing, then a camp, a hamlet, and finally a village. Huh. Yeah. It's not really exciting stuff. The tale is assisted by walking around the village, introducing you to the original settlers or their offspring, and showing you some of the treasures displayed in the House of Gatherings. A unicorn's horn found at the heart of the woods, a blue rock that's shaped and hollow like an egg, and is darker inside, an arrow that hit a fried ape in an eye and knocked it down. Behind each of them, there are names, stories, and memories. At the very end, Ayla leads you back to his workshop, holding a hand on his conspicuous stomach. To give his throat some rest, he turns the topic around. And what are the folks in Havlavin like, friend? Foggy says there are thousands of souls at the capital, and one can go their entire lives still finding new faces in the crowd. It may be so, but my city feels lonely. There are many people around, but all of them are too busy with their duties to share their lives with others. People spend time with their families and close friends, especially ones they work with. They are close to each other, but no soul knows what happens behind doors. In the evenings, the streets feel empty. It's hard to get to know new people when everyone's so busy, but kids spend a lot of time together and build lifelong friendships. One can easily find groups to hang out with. People shop together, work, take baths, pray, and when one has nothing to do in the evening, they just go outside and seek company. It's not easy to build strong friendship, though. Hard to say. The merchants are getting richer, the priests have their games, craft guilds decide who goes in and out, and the workers have to compete. There are no monsters on the streets, at least not every day. There's distrust in many souls. No, I'd rather not. I'd rather that not get... I kind of have to sell the city to these people. So, people spend time with their families and close friends. I guess this doesn't impact the town. It just says that people are just too busy with their duties to share their lives with others. People spend time with their families, especially ones they work with. I'll just go with the first one. He nods. A few years back, me and a visitor who happened to move with us, saying they were a stranger in their own land. We agreed and they departed Havlavin to pick up their things, but never came back. Sits down next to his tools. Does this bother you? This loneliness? I've learned to live with it. It's already part of my nature. No, I couldn't. I need these folks. He looks at a few young people on the opposite side of the square. They were also observing the two of you and now give you awkward smiles. Ayla adjusts his shoulder cloak and asks if you need anything else. I do. I'd like to learn more about the peninsula. Our tribe will be much help there, he admits, while judging the harsh surface of a small plank. It was our parents who did all the traveling, and they did so while we were kids. Oh, not yet born. Most of them are already gone, and most of us travel no farther than to Foggy's, and only when we have to. What do you think about Ephraim? Oh yeah, your brother. Gives you a surprised look. I care for him deeply. He's brave and has a big heart. But both of our pasts were rough. I don't think you need to hear about him. That's fine. Can't have your secrets. I've heard you have some issues with the Eastern Path. Eastern Path. I had some issues with the Eastern Path. At first, he gives you a bright smile, then nods with a sigh. Aye. So our issues are so clear that folks gossip on them? Well, no, I can figure that out. about myself. I'm glad you came to our help, friend, but it doesn't feel right to admit we need help from an outsider. He stands up slowly, walks away, and leaps over one of the log-made tables and looks for something in the pile of wood. Well, I am a Roadwarden, it's kind of my job. In this part of the land, there's always going to be something to do for a Roadwarden. He straightens up with a piece of charred wood in his hand and gets back to you. As he draws black lines on the workbench, he mentions a few names. Creeks, Foggies, Gale Rocks there. Here's the lake. The map is simplistic and doesn't align with your own understanding of local distances, but you follow his description without issues. The path from here to south is getting too wild for us. He repines, making another few strokes. The Mercians travel through the other route, through Howler's Dale, passing by Old Pagos and White Marches. Once they reach Foggy, they already have their stomachs full and may have many deals closed. When they travel back, they visit the same places again. Folks already know that trading here takes a long time. So you want me to give them an option to get to you first and move west without backtracking. And to do all that by myself. How exactly? Option to get to you first and move west without backtracking. Well, I'm sure you can find some help. He pats his stomach without noticing he leaves a few black dots on his leather jacket. There's a few things you could do. Follow the eastern road and see if it's clear. Are there any safe shelters left? Any blockades to get rid of? Is there an overgrown path to burn? Maybe see if the road from here to the west crossroads is safe, or if the carts could get through the heart of the woods. If you're brave enough, I hope your soul would sage judgment. Seeing your puzzled look, he rests his palms on the table with a shy smile. I know I'm vague, but I bet you already know more about these roads than I do, friend. His eyes return to the map, and after a moment of hesitation, he rubs an uneven line with his thumb. Got to mention my pay. How can you know if I'll be honest with you? Where would you like me to start? Wouldn't it be better for you to put work into the western road? You could split the labor with the other settlements. That's true. They can't be trusted, especially some of them. He crosses the western side of his map with a long, thin line. Even a paved route would force merchants to add a day of pointless travel to their plans. That's a big loss in their trade. Having our path clear gives everyone more options and more convenience. Talk about the necromancers, aren't you? Or white marchers. Oh, where would you like me to start? Go to the shelters set at the side of the roads. There's a ruined campsite west of Foggy's. He makes a small circle on his map. Or you could go south to a cabin our elders built. He makes a larger square. I think I passed that when I was running away. It's halfway from here to the river. Take a look around. Here's what their condition. If there are any beasts around, you can handle a few small creatures, can't you? Okay, hold on. So, campsite west of Foggy's. Campsite west of Foggy's. And old building south of Foggy's. So 2 shelters, and then you want me to take care of anything I find? He laughs, but not with his eyes. Forgive me, friend, but you don't sound like someone with much experience behind them. Nothing like Asterion. You took pride in his self-reliance. I'm plenty self-reliable. I'm just trying to figure out what you want. If you're gonna be like that, you forgot to mention my pay. That depends on what you're about to do, eh? The tribe has but a few dragons. To confirm his words, he enters a nearby house, from which he picks up an old wooden case, crude in shape, with an unsightly engraving of a 3-headed hydra on its lid. Inside it, you see maybe 24 dragon bones. Let's say you'll get a dragon for any news, but about clear the blocked areas, and more if it takes real effort from you. Okay, so I'm gonna act first and pick up my reward after. Playing with my patience. You know, if I'll be honest with you. Yeah, how are we gonna trust each other? He looks at you in silence and clutches his stomach. Can't most likely. But the more news you bring us, the farther away from the village our foragers and hunters will be willing to roam. Foggy's boys as well, I expect. Sooner or later, the truth will surface, and I'll advise my tribe to take a lesson from whatever we're about to find. Well, we don't have trust that much, but... Alright, we have a deal. He flashes you a wide smile, pats his stomach. You won't regret this! He then throws away the charred wood, returns to his stool, and looks for his tools. Oh, I did get rid of a small pack of dust foxes that lived in the ruined shelter in the west. Dust foxes? After he meets your silence, carries on. I don't know what that is! Describe their looks and the threat they present as Ayla observes the clouds. Sometimes ask you to explain more. He finally taps his stomach. Well, better than a tribe of goblins. And what about the ruins? Is the wood still standing strong? He thinks about your brief tale and looks inside his wooden case. I admit, restoring this place right away would be a waste of time and effort. We may need your help with it, but maybe next spring, or even the one after that. I'll give you 1 dragon for the news and another 2 for handling the foxes. Fair. Good to see you don't idle around, Roadwarden. I don't like... It's just... You have such a cheerful tone. It just doesn't feel genuine. Oh, I killed the statue south of Foggy's place. It was overgrown. A woman with a stick? Seeing your nods, he stops his work. What for? Well, you can buy... Or it's pretty... Okay, I have to convince him why he should give me a coin. I turn into rocks. I thought you wouldn't care. What is prettier now? It increases the chances the animal will see her as a human shell and feel threatened by it. He snorts, what? You repeat yourself, but he gestures with his knife for you to stop. Don't be dumb, friend. Birds sit on it all the time, and I see no cats jumping on it. Beasts! He taps his nose. You have other senses than we do. Probably a stupid thing to say. Damn it. Alright, well. Take a look at the dome in the south. It's safe. He keeps sculpting wood and asks you about the size and the entrance of the chapel. I've heard it's small, but not that small. Not enough for a group, but maybe a lone traveler without a mount. He looks at you with a smile. Pick a dragon bow from the case, will you? I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop now. You reach toward the ugly head of a hydra. He's not looking. Nah, he'll know. Well, friend, thanks for your tales. The hunters and foragers feel confident about the meadows from here to Foggy's, and even beyond. When you have a day to spare, come here any morning. Ask our tribesfolk about a job for a Roadwarden, unless it rains. You'll get 2 dragons and enough stew to fill your belly for a day of patrolling the roads and assisting us in our wagons. So the things you are meant to do anyway, eh? Yeah, okay, maybe. Just remember to come with a healthy shell. It won't be a stroll. You mundane job. Oh yes, I encountered a fallen tree in the far south. Take care of a swarm of bugs that crawl on the watchtower. I have an idea. There's a potion that might be able to help with that. But I encountered a fallen tree in the far south, which is why I asked you about bandits. Describe its exact location. I guess it was unavoidable for this to happen at one point or the other. Too bad it's so far away from here. He stops his work and turns toward you. So, would you like to help us with that, friend? You ask him what he proposes, and he describes what he calls a day of honest work. Just come to me someday in the early hours. I still need to discuss this with the tribe, but I'll ask the stronger folks to travel with you to the tree. They'll agree. If they feel like the roads can be trusted, split it into blocks, get it on the wagons, bring it here. It won't go to waste, and the road will be cleaned. When you mention it's going to take an entire day, he agrees. And you'll get 5 dragon modes for it. Just come to me when you're healthy, and only if you already know what's on the route from here to that point. We'll put a lot of trust into your guidance protection, Leto. Honestly, you're giving me a lot. I was expected for you to be stingy. You're much more giving. I think you're a little too cheerful sometimes. But still, way more giving than Howler's though. So I'm going to get to know the entire route, make sure it's safe enough for your tribe to follow, and come here in the morning, but only if I can handle the journey. Quite a list, but fine, we'll see. I'm not going to waste an entire day on a dangerous journey just to see how your tribe beats a trunk. You could do that on your own once the spring comes and the roads get safer. No, I'll see what I can do. He thinks about your words and reaches for his case. You're right, that's a lot. Can't help you much, but at least you deserve one bone right away for bringing me the message. Maybe buy some rations for it, or a good rest. Actually, we also need at least one day to prepare ourselves. Thanks. I'm never tired of good news. No, you sure don't seem to. I'll let you know if there's anything else. Bring more news from the eastern road before we travel to the fallen tree. Okay. Yeah, I'll let you know if there's anything else. Besides, I can get the amount of work ahead of him. So... well, I imagine being a carpenter in this part of this realm isn't easy. You have a healthy imagination! He rests his elbow on the workbench and smiles. I have patience, and I'm getting better with tools, and these are some shoddy tools, he says singingly, and it's hard to disagree with him. They have been used for many years, with only the wooden parts being somewhat in shape since they seem to have been recently replaced. The steel chisels and saws are jagged and dull. The hammers and axes are made of stone. Some of them were brought here by the settlers. We can't buy any more right now. There's work to be done, but I do have a plan. You ask him to explain, and he's all too eager to do so. He enters the nearby house and shows you his more successful works, each of which has some shortcomings noticeable even to a layperson. A bowl engraved with fish was poorly planned. The animal's too large to fit into the entire space, and so a part of it is blank. A simple relief of two naked people in their embrace looks almost believable. The legs are in one case too long and in the other too short. One chair has a broken leg, and the remaining three show that they are a bit too ambitiously shaped and got dangerously thin. The chest seems fine, but equipment sticks out of it, and the man acknowledges that he wrongly estimated the required size. So you want to be an artist? Better! No, I want to turn pots, cups, weapons, cuppers, everything stuff into things of beauty. Seeing your look, he pats his stomach. Maybe I should have led with the statue being beautiful. I know I'm far from mastering it, but trust me, these are so much better than the ones I did this winter, and I started only 3 years ago. His pride makes him look even larger, especially in the shoulders. There aren't many carpenters in the peninsula. Folks do things for their own use, but I'll be a specialist. It's the city thing. Foggy told me so. Not just a joiner, but someone who does only a few things, but better than others. The tribe supports me with food and time, and I'll pay them back with dragon bones and prettier houses. When he leads you outside, you start to share some of his excitement, but most of it dwindles away after you sit down at his workbench again, on wobbly stools surrounded by broken planks and crude tools. Well, you're making the best of it. Okay, I think that's it for me. I guess I'll see you later. Magenta snorts at the group of kids that are trying to pull its tail. You tell them to run to their grandpa. I still got 2 hours. Let's go see what Efron is up to. At first, he doesn't look at you. What do you think? What do you know about the road running through the heart of the forest? Well, let's ease into it. So are you the only hunter around? It just feels like it. He lets out a strong sigh and takes off his wolf hat. There's 4 of us left. Too bad you weren't on these roads earlier, friend. Some of our tribesfolk most likely needed your help, but are now gone. We've accepted that they won't be back. Oh, damn. Sorry to hear. For a long pause, he puts on his hat again. Our village is small, but we now have to do almost daily trips. Catch too much meat, it spoils. But recently, that hasn't been an issue. I see that why you were so desperate. You know hunters from Pelt of the North do your job? Nah. They only get close when they chase after wounded prey, so our woods stay mostly the same. You could have another village twice our size. Glances towards the gate. Halfway from there to Pelt, and there would still be more than enough game for every belly, as long as they would forage and set up farms. You ask him if he has ever considered joining professional hunters, and he takes off the wolf's head and gives it to you so you can take a better look. It's really warm from the sun. That's the only wolf any of us felled in the last 5 years, you see. Not that we're cowards. He suddenly raises his voice. Our trade just isn't as big game hunters. I place fish traps, put glue to catch birds, shoot rocks at rats and rabbits. When in a group, we may seek roe deer or oryx. He takes the hat back and looks at it with nostalgia. Those in the inn seek trophies, not meat, so they hunt for big beasts, ones that, fight back. Our ways are different, but I like that bunch. At least they smile, unlike others in the peninsula. Hunters will always find a common tongue. Once you see enough blood and guts, you have to laugh or go crazy. I guess that's true. Any chance you've ever had opportunity to work with Aristos from Hallersdale and Cassia from Gale Rocks? Do they know their trade? Aye, with both of them, but I'd rather hunt for frogs than waste my time teaching them both how to trip over their own feet. He rubs the forehead of his wolf, not aware that you're waiting for him to tell you more. What, surprised? Finally adds, Aristos barely knows how to catch a rabbit or a sparrow. He's as much of a trapper as a child with a stick as a soldier. And Cassia is even worse. Big mouth, sure. Whenever we seek blades at Gale Rocks to catch us big prey, she suddenly gets a headache. Ah, damn, I was hoping she'd be better. What do you know about the road running through the heart of the forest? I know to avoid it. Blood there. Seeing that you're waiting for a longer tale, he adjusts his heavy cloak, spending a good minute on making sure that you understand it's a dangerous place. You'll do better riding around it. The northern road is the safest, he concludes, as if you care about safety. After you insist that any sort of guidance may be of use, he scratches the wolf's head. I've heard from a friend that gnolls were moving there. And those are very small beast folk, you know. He moves an open hand close to his hips, betraying the height. They'll threaten you until you give them some meat, and that's all they eat. No fruits, no, I don't know, bones? But it's the fried apes that scare me the most, and there's an entire family of them. Trust me, if you ever hear the terrible scream of a human somewhere in the tree crowns, run as fast as you can. Don't seek it, and certainly don't fight it. Just ride as fast as you can. The same thing as a howler. Screams match up. Yeah, what do you think about... Oh, then he's not going to trust me. We're going to have to talk about his brother. We'll try anyway. He repeats her question, making sure you heard it correctly. I respect him. He took good care of me as an older brother. Our tale isn't an easy one, so I'd rather keep it to ourselves before you blurt something back at him. Yep, I figured. Alright then. Have a good hunting. Genta's lazily looking around as it rests on the dusty path. So that's Ella and Ephron. Old Hava, the farmer. Such a late hour, the locals won't be interested in my services. Maybe there are some locals looking for a match in other villages. Ah, that's right. Forgot about that. After a few minutes, you find yourself sitting at a table with Soshi, a dark-haired 20-year-old who some call a woodcutter, others a singer. In both of these roles, her massive stature must be of help. When she walks, she either carries a large axe on her shoulders or swings it around, towering over her tribesfolk like a chieftain from the tales of war. She admits she enjoys a friendly shag from time to time, but can't see a future for her in creeks. Enough of these friends lose their lives in the wilderness. I start seeing cats and gargoyles in every shadow. I'd rather have a few calm, safe years at the side of a pretty little woman who I'll see in my bed in the evenings. Though you know, friend, not just her. She lets out a sonorous laughter. You mention that you don't know if she'll be able to keep her trade after moving away, and she strokes her axe with affection. Hi, I'd miss the woods, but who knows? My tribe can't be the only one that cuts trees around here, eh? You try to ask her about her worldview, but she gets bored by the topic. We here, she looks around, have no temples and priests, and I don't aim to become one. That is good. That you'd be down to travel, although I don't know how. I don't know how was it Tammy? I don't know how she would feel about sharing, but farewell. I'll be on the lookout. Shallow Creek. With the calming sounds of waterfalls around you, observe the stream as clean as a spring. The oak ash soap and the tea set you own can help you get cleaner. Got some time? Jump into the stream. There are no fish or plants to bother with, and your feet find mud among the not always smooth pebbles. The water reaches above your waist, allowing you to have some fun, splat and wash every spot of your shell. Thanks to the gentle flow, you're able to remove the mud stains from your clothes and boots. Okay, Old Hava. Hopefully you got a meal or a place to stay. You follow the path between the fields, witnessing a one-sided conversation between Old Hava and a barely adult man. He orders him around, pointing at various plants, criticizing the sight of weeds, and addressing the fancy clothes he's wearing. He observes his red-dyed boots and lets out a relieved sigh after arrival. I better change, he mumbles, heading to the main square. Okay, step out of his way. The woman spares you a wry glance, then turns away. Focus on the struggling vegetables. She's the only person in the village who wears clothes made of plant fabric, but they're wetter than covered with decades-old patches. Her hands, clasped behind her back, are constantly twitching. I guess you get that way when you get old. We're doing youth, huh? Back in my day. What do you have for sale? Don't test my patience. Don't test my patience. I wait patiently. Yeah, I guess that's appropriate. After a minute, you realize that her keen eyes are indeed observing the leaves instead of just disregarding your presence. She clears her throat and points at one of the carrots. The color is good, dark, but they're small. I think the soil is too dense. She's gathering her thoughts for another few breaths. Looks at you softly. I have time now, Roadwarden. Oh, well, I guess you did hear me. I was being paraded around town. I'm looking for a place to sleep. We need another hut, and we have no space for it. She gazes at you with dry, tired eyes. If you need a scrap of floor, go to the tavern. Fair. Oh, it's a distance away. What do you have for sale? We sold what we had. We're lacking hunters, and these, she looks at the wrinkled vegetables, will go into a stew, if they're even worth picking. Without noticing it, she grabs her left forearm with her right hand, but it doesn't stop the twitching. We always have a fish trap to spare. We make them just in case. A large basket, but in a creek, and wait a day or two until something swims inside. I'll sell you one for 2 dragon bones. Could get 2 fish traps. And if you'd rather eat something right away, she carries on after a short pause, our cooks could spare you a roast grouse or a chicken. It'll be cold but fresh. We always have one. You never know when there are maggots in your supplies, and kids shouldn't skip a meal. I'll ask her to tell you more, but her patience grows thin. It's the best light roast in the north. We add plenty of spices to it, so it spoils slowly. That's it. Fine, show me how this trap works. Maybe if I act like I don't know how to use it, she'll give me a discount. Guess not. Roast chicken. Okay, well, I'll buy the fish trap. I'll be back for more, perhaps. Cracks her knuckles. Oh, that's right, I did meet some annoying howlers. Do you have any earplugs? Her shoulders flinch. But will that work? You can break the skull of a deaf shell. After you shrug, she looks at one of the farmers who's wearing Malflin fur. Give me something good to eat, and I'll give you a few tufts of thick wool. Put them into your ears, then wear them under a tight hood. How about some fruits and greens? She nods and orders the farmer to bring her a knife. We'll need more seeds anyway. After a few minutes, you hold a new pair of earplugs. Neat. Oh, I have more than I thought. Old blanket, a piece of rawhide you found at the Northern Road. Torn frayed rawhide, a simple material made of animal skin, but without the tanning process that would turn into leather. I guess no one doesn't belong to anyone here. It's not rotten yet, but it provided a couple of howlers with a lot of joy. Their playtime made it damage, so it's pretty much worthless. And where are the e-plugs? I don't see them. Oh, they might be in here. No? Navika, that's right, I'm looking for someone named Navika. I don't expect many merchants to reach this place. Why don't you move your traps to Foggy's? What? What's it to you? He doesn't wait for a response. Does your yard look like it has bear for nets? Alright. Just trying to help. Plus, some information would have been nice. Alright, farewell. Now I need to seek shelter. I have the close shelter at Foggy Lake. Once you get to the ground, Island points out the old rawhide you're carrying by your saddle. Look at my blanket friend. You'll find one clean and all in creeks. This one will get smelly soon. I have a blanket. The screeching birds are sitting on the logs of the palisade. Some of them observe you, but we'll have a moth and pelt. Close enough. The group doesn't cease swabbling. Okay, enter the tavern. The air is humid and stuffy. The tables were just washed with wet cloth. Foggy's eating a stew from a bowl, but once she sees you, she finishes it with a few large gulps. She welcomes you with a gentle nod. Caius, I wonder why did you decide to keep him around? I did speak with Caius. Do I need a reason? Her amused eyes get thoughtful as she looks at the ceiling. He came here for as poor a soul in need. Taught only how to use a spear and a shield. I know how it feels to have all that you're good at taken away from you. Yikes. She straightens up and hits her chest with her fist. But so I know that new paths await us, with or without the help of others. Caius, legs may be buried in despair, but I'm ready to throw him a shovel once he asks for it. She pauses and looks through the window. Though these fantasies of his won't help him ask anytime soon. They'll swallow his thoughts. Well, if I could help, I would. Alright, question about the peninsula. Okay, so, let me think. Creeks? Creeks is my home. It's younger than Ireland by over a year. It may be small, but I felt better with the folks there than I ever did at Capital. She takes a big breath. We used to live on wild game, fish, and foraged goods. And after some years, we chased the larger animals out of the forest. Now our youths learn carpentry. They make barrels, planks, tools. If trade ever comes back here, we'll have things to sell. There used to be only struggle, but now there's hope, laughter, I've noticed. We may be poor, but it's the last hope, joyful place in the north. Her eyes get gloomy as she reaches for one of the bottles from a shelf. There were struggles. I'm among our oldest. Those who came here with me. She pauses, then puts the bottle away. But now their children have a real home. Okay, well, how about White Marshes? It's an old village, placed among the bogs in the west. Not so far from here, but the road there leads around the woods, so it takes a good while. She rubs her chin. I'm sure you already know about the Woken. I don't like what the folks there are doing, not one bit, but I can't blame them. They struggle. They don't know how to protect their kids, their elders, Orentius, their priests. She cracks her shoulders. Quiet man, but preaches like a zealot, always looking like he's on the verge of crying. She opens the door with a wave of her hand, letting in some fresh air. She looks at the lake. They used to trade in lumber, those from marshes, until Howler's Dell started selling their own trees for better prices. The trade the marshes died, and so came the hunger. She looks at you with unclear grimace on her lips. We may judge them, but at least their preachers give them hope. Even I feel like we talked about this. Okay, hold on. You know. White Marshes dealt in lumber until Howler's Dell got involved. They are shrewd with their business strategies, aren't they? Okay, how about Gale Rocks? Not the nicest bunch of fishers, are they? She chuckles, but there's motherly concern in her eyes. Harsh lives give birth to harsh folks, dear. They spend every sunny day on their fishing boats, then cut the sea fish all night long to place them in barrels or hang them in the smokery. They don't have crops, no lumber or iron. The coastal birds and rocks squab are their only game meat. It's not too dangerous being a fisher, but all they get comes from trading. Well, you can tell that's not good news. They try to be their own merchants, take the wares south, and with every year, they need to burn more buyers. He scratches her broad chin. Hard to believe Gale Rock's as old as it is. And that they stick to it, no matter how difficult their lives get. Okay, well, what about Howler's Dale? Howler's... Okay, Howler's Dale. Sticking around an apostrophe. Well, there's a lot to say about Howler's Dale, dear. Her eyes start around, and you have to press her before she says anything of note. It's in the middle of the Western Road, among the safer lands, and has a large forest garden. Its folks eat and dress well, and have plenty of guards, and the strong spells of their druids. Scratches her knee, measuring every word. Whatever you do, remember to laugh at the mayor's jokes. Her name's Thias, don't get in her way. Voice is grim as her eyes are serious. Maybe I should have been laughing at her jokes. I'm recalling memories of Thias, a thin, smiling woman who likes expensive dresses. Foggy could squash her in the blink of an eye. Part of me hopes she would. I guess... Pelt. It's a place in what used to be an outpost of dragon hunters. Older than mine, but finally renewed, far away near the pass that leads through Hag Hills. An inn so you can rest there or buy yourself some food. Ison, the innkeeper, leads a group of good game hunters, though when they're together, he's like a cloud above them. Otherwise, it can be a lot of fun. They haven't been here long. Must be not much more than 10 years, and they mostly keep to themselves. Alright, well, I think that's enough questions. Buying something. Iron scraps. We do have more now. If I sleep, I could rent for 2 rations. That's a lot. I could sleep. Barefur will be a fine sleeping spot, but your horse will disturb your rest. In the morning, you'll have to clean after it. Sleeping here. Oh, wow, it'll actually hurt me. Okay, well, here's what I'll do. I will buy this from you. And I guess I'll rent. The monster's shouts wake you up. The night is bright. From the window of the tavern, you have a good look at the yard. A few masked travelings are exploring the courtyard, knocking over wooden tools with their tails, putting their noses in the buckets and underneath the stairs. You count 5 of them so far, but you can't see the entire area at once. One of them spots your look and moves closer. Still, doesn't try to climb to the door. Maybe it's experienced enough that you know it won't get through. Close the shutter slowly and go back to sleep with an axe in my hand. Scoff, leave the shutter open. Stupid lizard. Let's go with the axe. Keeping it a little safe. It's trusty. Listening to the grunts of the annoyed magenta makes you feel uneasy. At least the furs covering the floor are helping you relax. You don't even notice when it's already morning, and while the smell coming from the lower floor is not inviting, at least it's not who has to take care of it. Ah. Foggy turns toward you and waits for you to speak. Well, I guess it's time for me to go. It was nice staying here. I'll stop by sometime. Or, end up like a Astarion. Probably say bye to the foragers. They're chatting about the weather, planning the next couple of hours. Let's see if we can help Caius out. Your boss told me you had some sort of visions. Meets your eyes, straightens up, reaching out to you with his dirty hand. Step away. It's fine, just tell me. Yeah, I'd rather not touch me. Right? He grabs the empty air in front of your shoulder, and after a pause, he draws invisible shapes with his arms. Alright, here's the prayers of the people. I mean, of the 10 cities. All the tribes and the empress and priests and merchants and farmers, we thought things were lost. The glory behind us, pushed by humiliation for our weaker hearts. Starts to shake his stump foot away from his face. But there's hope! His voice gets stronger with every heartbeat, and a wide smile shows under his beard. The right's test is behind us, and we, the sinners, have failed it. Now are the days of atonement and of the new cities with new tribes and the cleansed land. We, you know, we have to fix ourselves, change what we can, weed out our sins, and bring fresh hearts to the holiest soul carrier, and let them guide us anew with new tablets and prayers and a new church, the only church, yes! He steps in place, bursting with excitement. All the rivers would flow as one wave, and new cities, the reborn city, will wipe out the barbarians. He spits on the ground. And send them back into their chains. He points his hand south. We will come through the ashes, reborn into a power greater than any fortress, than 1,000 dragons, than all the ships and armies. He steps back, lowering his head. I, the humble servant, was granted this vision. Not enthusiastically, so be it. I see. Maybe I can't help you. He gives you a harsh glance and walks away, nodding and raising his voice. Open your heart, or the wave will take you to. Zvi presses a clenched fist to his lips, stopping himself from laughter, while Elin looks at the prophet with concern. Don't push him any longer, friend. He told you all that is already. Yeah, no, I'm good with pushing him. You don't have to worry about me pushing him at all. Man, that was weird. He's insane. Okay. The Northern Road. That's right. I have earplugs now. How's my nourishment? Let's get some. I know I'm gonna be facing howlers, so. Alright, Pete Fields. Oh no, sorry, Northern Road. Let's go. There's hardly any wind. The lake smells of reeds and wet. The howlers gather around you as you approach the tree. The smallest of them are hanging from the branches, while a few larger ones on the ground observe you from tall grasses. Alright, plug my ears. You stick the wool into your ears. The first touch is soft, but as you push more of it inside, the plugs keep falling out and distract you with the newly muffled sounds. The howling is less intrusive, but as long as you have ears, some of it will reach you. Alright, let's scare the howlers away. You're yards away from the closest tree. The howlers are climbing, swinging, browsing the leaves, and seeking bugs in the meadow. Only a few of them pay attention to you. You could start with an attack from a distance, but there's no way for you to take down an entire pack. Best you can hope for is scaring them off. Okay. Cast a few rocks at them. The poor aim makes you hit the trunk, drawing the monkey's attention. They howl even louder, pointing at you and jumping between branches. The rocks don't hurt them much. They stay still thanks to their tails and cover their faces with their hands. And the largest one lands on the grass. Okay. I'm getting ready. I move forward. The confused howlers step back, not sure why you are not running away. Well, I think that could scare them. Maybe I'll just, I don't know, try to howl at them. I shout at the monkeys with my arms. At first you doubt your shout is going to be heard, but once you add it to your aggressive gestures, the creatures get quieter, allowing your voice to spread wider. Some of the smaller monkeys cuddle to each other and hide their faces. Those on the ground take the first few steps forward, and they keep looking at each other as if hoping another one will get to you first. Let's go! Oh, nothing here. You get dizzy, but try to keep your movements swift and confident. The muffled sounds, while annoying, remain at the edge of your senses. You leap forward, reaching for my axe, for sure. You clash with one of the creatures, and the weapon lands on his shoulder. Your axe cuts fairly deep. The beast jumps away, screaming, then tries to get away on its 3 other limbs. You make a few dangerous swings, keeping the other beasts at a distance. They try to surround you, but you manage to keep up with them. You're not sure you can protect yourself from all sides at once, especially without a shield, but for now, you are in control. Alright, who's next? I turn towards the next opponent. You look around, but no more creatures try to approach you. You step forward and raise your blade. The wounded monkeys run away, and the others follow them soon after. They don't look back. You doubt they'll forget the threat you pose. Hopefully they'll assume I look like every other human, and we'll just be scared of all of them. Or better than it could have. Return the grazing magenta. I'll spend some time setting up a fish trap at the bank. Ooh, that's right, I do have another fish trap. Okay. Place the basket on the ground and grab a bowl and start digging. Looking for a few larger worms, you bait the stick and push it inside the basket, locking it between the sides, then cover the entrance with the lid. Tying it together takes you a few good moments, but will be easier later on. You attach the entire trap to a rock and push it in the lake, far enough that it sinks entirely. Who knows how long it takes before something large enough swims inside. Still, it would be better for not to wait too long, otherwise the prey may die of hunger. Okay. We did good. We can now travel. And we can head to peat fields. There's a ruined shelter. Although I think we have to come here from creeks. Although I should go and help them. I did promise I would. But also I haven't visited Howler's Dell in a while. I should make my rounds. There's just been a lot that's happening. Okay, fine. We'll go to Howler's Creek. See if we can help him. A few souls carrying wooden and stone weapons and tools are just leaving the village. Once you reach the yard, you hear the cozy rustling of shrubs growing on the other side of the palisade. Okay, I have there to spare. Ask around, see if any locals need protection on the roads. I still need to find a match for Soshi. Wait, didn't they need them help with me moving a tree? Big delivery. The villagers need to deliver a few barrels to Foggy and stay around for a few hours, set up traps, and repair a collapsed part of the palisade. Task will take you an entire day and may get dangerous. Ooh, but I will get paid. And food. Most of the time, you stay safe, but at one point you find yourself evading a pack of predators and your clothes are now soaked in sweat. Up to the creek. Alright, I'm doing good. Feel great. Guess that's all I need help with. What time is it? Still got 4 hours. I can't go to Peat Fields and back. Should try going this way. Follow the road, spread between the hills and lonely trees until you reach a solid wooden bridge, not older than a generation. Right uphill, but Magenta manages to keep up. The dark woods in the south are behind a gentle humming creek, while the forest on the right is trimmed by the locals. It's a peaceful journey, at least for some time. After a few minutes, you spot a group of wolves feasting on a fallen, furry beast, maybe a wizened. One of them looks towards you. Better ride a bit faster. The road fades into an old tunnel. There are no signs of mining, no signposts, no human voices. The ceiling is supported by wooden beams, but the light only reaches so far. A chilling wind mercilessly bends the few lonely trees, while the shrubs oppose the weather patiently. The side path leading west is somewhat maintained, and you find both boot prints and cart tracks. It leads higher into the mountains. I don't know if I have time to enter a tunnel. A piece of rods somewhere around. Find a perfect spot. A small crack between two massive rocks. Use a rod to broaden it a bit, and then push it halfway in and fills with the rag. Alright, what do we have? Look at the rods. 5 more. Dust off my hands. Okay. Still do have 3 hours a long time. Alright, fine. Enter the magenta to the tree, then to the tunnel. Curiosity's gonna get me killed one day. Man observes the area anxiously, so you stay for a moment to give it a good scratch under its neck and stay some confident sounding rubbish. You unpack all the things you need to make a new simple torch. A log, some old rugs, a bit of oil. You grab your tinderbox and sit on the ground for a couple of minutes, preparing the flint and the linen char cloth. Decades ago, before the sudden invasion, people used fire strikers made of thick steel, but all you have is a cube-like piece of harsh pyrite. It's not the best, but it's enough to make a couple sparks. The loud, flickering yellow light unevenly hits your cheek with heat. You raise the torch, but hold it at an angle, letting the oil drip on the ground. Let's see where the tunnel leads. For a few minutes, you follow a fairly straight corridor. The timber supporting the ceiling is decaying, but you don't spot any signs of collapse, which is good. That would suck. My curiosity would have gotten me killed right away. The floor is littered with bones and rotting food, most likely dragged here by wild beasts, but there are also signs of soot above you and footprints left on the dried mud. Can't be that someone's in here. You reach the crossroads and stop in place. There's no sconce in sight, so you have to constantly carry the torch, or lose it for good. It won't last for long anyway. The draft is hardly noticeable, so looking for an exit in the dark woods would be dangerous. Damn, let's explore a tunnel, a new reliable source of light. How many coins do I have? It can cost 3 for a lamp. Get who was selling it. I think it was in Hallersdale. Well, I best get back then. I would not like to. Fine, I'll sleep on the stupid main hall. Okay, I need the coins. It's an exhausting night, but you have to keep stepping in place or walking, talking only. You're taking only short naps. You can't count how many things you try to calm it down with your voice, touch, and by offering it water or a snack, but nothing helps. Close your eyes for an hour or so in the late morning, then clean up after your mount. The stench alone is disarming. Alright. Well, time for me to go. Can't say it was fun. 'Cause it wasn't. Sure didn't smell fun.